to keep cookies soft, so to keep your chocolate chip cookies soft, how do you do it, Tara?
You take a piece of crust from a loaf of bread and you store it with your cookies.
Yep.
And the bread will absorb the moisture.
It will impart moisture. So basically it's acting like a humidifier.
That's right.
So what you're doing is, you know, if you know how, if you have cigars, or if you have, maybe if your husband, your boyfriend is into cigars, there's a humidor and they'll just put distilled water in a humidifier.
Ladies can be into cigars. My mom is going to beat you for that
You know what? You are right. I am sorry if I insulted you and you're a lady and you're into cigars.
My mom likes cigars.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Sorry, Linda. But anyway, that's essentially what you're doing is you're putting bread in there. And once that bread gets really hard, just put a new piece of bread in there and remove the hard one. And it will continue to slowly let moisture go to keep your cookies moist. And you could line your cookies, put them in your cookie tin. But before you do that, put parchment paper there. So basically what that'll do is it will make an impenetrable layer there. So your cookies, your cookies could mold. You can't like leave your cookies in there with like a pound of bread for 2 weeks. You'll have mold then. They'll be moist, but it'll be mold.
Yeah.
So it's like a fine line what you're going to do. But if you don't do that, you're going to have rock hard cookies. And though Tara likes rock hard cookies, you might not.
Just chocolate chip cookies. I don't want my lemon ricotta cookies to be rock hard. Speaking of cookies that shouldn't be hard, rainbow cookies.
They shouldn't be hard, and they are not necessarily hard to make, but time consuming.
Yes, when I said hard, I meant texturally.
Oh, no, I know that's what you meant. I was trying to do a play on words there because I'm intelligent.
Okay.
that was my attempt to play on words, but Tara can't keep up with me. That's the issue.
Sure.
Okay. Well, anyway, they are a little hard, or I should say difficult.
Time consuming.
Yeah. I mean, you're making 3 cakes that are different colors. Mm-hmm. And then, what does it get? A chocolate layer? They get stacked with a chocolate layer between each. There's also jelly in there, too.
No, there's jam in between the layers.
Jam.
And then there's chocolate on the outside.
Are each of the colors, are they flavored with a different ingredient?
No. And I believe that they're colored to represent the Italian flag.
Well, yeah.
I mean it's like pink, yellow, and green.
Yeah.
But it's really supposed to be like
white.
Red, white.
Yeah, but you're not going to...
And green.
Yeah, so I've never been that big of a fan of them. Have you been a big fan of them?
I like them from some places. From other places, I don't think they're that good. So it really depends on the bakery that I'm getting it from.
We're trying to just do cookies for you today, not because there's so much more here. Are we going to do an episode on cakes, Tara, or not?
Christmas cakes?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's so much more to cover here.
We're kind of like out of time.
We're out of time.
Right. We want to have a video. We want to have a podcast episode about the 7 fishes, and we want to have one about Christmas, what to serve on Christmas Day. So
the cakes and we're going to run out of time here because, as Tara said, 7 fishes, some other stuff for the holidays. I mean, there's so much more to an Italian bakery. I think we're going to get into just the Italian bakery in general when we talk about the bad stuff, right?
Yeah. And I think the reason why we're talking about cookies is because cookies really are the star of the show when it comes to Christmas. It's more about cookies than it is about any other type of dessert, in my opinion.
You're right.
Yeah. I did have one cookie item on here that I did want to mention because you can get it in a bakery, and that's strufoli.
Ooh, strufoli. Strufoli.
Honey balls.
It's a good amount of work. You're making little balls. The smaller you can make the balls, the better. If you look at the one on our site, you can see how I got a little frustrated and I started to make the balls a little too big. But you probably want to do them about half of that. You don't want the strufoli balls to be soft. They're actually hard.
Well, they're not hard, but they're more like
Firm.
crispy on the outside.
Yeah.
The inside should be chewy.
Yeah.
But those are really good, and those are big around Christmas and also around Easter.
We have more that we like before we get into the bad. What are they,
All
Tara?
right, so I'm just going to rattle these off, and then you tell me if anything jumps out at you. But these are some of my favorites. Linzer cookies, pinoli cookies, snowball cookies, which are the walnut cookies, chocolate peanut butter cookies, biscotti, and oatmeal raisin cookies. Those are the ones on my list.
So those are all amazing. There was this horrible list before by this site called Delish. It said 17 Christmas cookies that stink or something, and they had a bunch of them on there. The person who wrote that, You need to go back to cookie school because a snowball cookie is one of the best cookies. And they're really easy to make.
They are really
But they are
easy.
delicious. I guess, she's trying to make a list of 17. She missed the real bad one that we're going to mention in a minute.
Do you have anything you want to comment on the ones that I just mentioned?
Yeah, so Linzer cookies or Linzer tarts are so good, easy to make. You just are making whatever shape you want. You're making 2 of them, and you're cutting a little hole into them. You're spreading your jam. Use a good jam, and you're just putting it back on, your cover on, so the jam oozes through that little hole you made. So maybe you have a star shape. Maybe you have, what are some of the other shapes that we do?
A heart, circle, a snowflake.
Yeah. And then you do powdered sugar on top. And Linzer tarts last a long time as well. They kind of actually, believe it or not, when you make them, the cookies are a little crisp, and you're going to wonder to yourself, oh, did I screw them up? But once you put the jam, you spread the jam on them, then they start softening up again. So you're adding the moisture back to them.
That's right.
This is all stuff that will come with experience. The more you bake, the more cookies you make. And the cookie baking and experience is very different than being a home cook experience. Because think about it this way. If you had as much time put into being a baker as you do to cooking dinner for you and your family, you would be a house. You would be massive. You couldn't do it. So now when you work at a bakery, it's a different story. You're not eating all your product. But if you were just home, just baking all the time, you'd be 400 pounds.